Another day of earnings today and another day where company posts pretty solid earnings. Unfortunately though for Intel, they did post an earnings beat top and bottom line. They were expected to do $1.10 earnings per share. They ended up doing $1.52 earnings per share. Revenue was expected at 17.5 billion. They came in at about 20 billion exactly. But the stock did tumble after hours, I think due to a pre-anticipatory run-up and some not so good guidance for the next quarter. Now, Intel is obviously still very, very strong, but they have a big competitor in their field, AMD, which is just hammering them in the CPU space and is continuing to take away market share from them. I went ahead and read an article that I think all you guys should read if you are invested in either AMD or Intel about their CPUs and who makes the best one for gaming and for workstations. And it was pretty clear that AMD seemed to take every part of it, when it comes to pricing, performance, and all the other aspects. AMD seemed to consistently beat Intel in this department. Now, the good thing about Intel is Intel still brings in a lot of revenue. Like they bring in a lot of revenue every single quarter, and they are doing pretty solid as well with a very, very low PE ratio. But like I said, AMD is hammering them in the CPU aspect and really taking away market share from them. If AMD continues, they're going to use this as a tailwind and their stock is going to continue to soar. I can see AMD hitting $100 literally within the next month or maybe 3. But the good thing about AMD is last earnings really show that they're stepping their game up. If we look at their net income, this is the thing that I was most impressed about. 225% year over year growth. Net income for last quarter coming in at 390 billion, along with regular revenue up 55% year over year for 2.8 billion. Now, if we look at the market caps of these two companies, we clearly see that AMD is valued at 110 billion with 125 PE ratio. Now, obviously 125 PE ratio is pretty significantly higher than Intel's 12 PE ratio. But AMD is a growth company and it's going to continue to grow. I like both of them. I don't see why we have to hate on both of them. But I mean, long term, I think AMD is going to be the most solid, especially since gaming is just continuing to get bigger and bigger. People are going to want AMD. They have the better pricing, better value, and they have the better performance. But we can't deny the fact that Intel's, making a ton of money, like an absolute ton of money. We look at them last quarter. I mean, last quarter, even though everything was down pretty significant, they're still bringing in about 4.5 billion a quarter. Some quarters about 5. A lot of them, quarter 4 of 2019 was absolutely incredible. But they're bringing in a lot of net income, and that's always a good thing. But seeing this decline is not always the best, and that's something to look forward to when we're talking long term of a company. Can it sustain? Does it belong here? Because if it's declining, it does not belong here. But if it's growing and advancing and taking away market share from them, then you can justify valuations of 125 PE ratio, $110 billion market cap. When it's consistently growing and putting out quality products, and I mean really, really quality products. And I think AMD is going to continue to be, one of the kings, if not the only king, in the CPU market. Now, NVIDIA will be hopefully acquiring ARM Holdings from SoftBank pretty soon, and then they're gonna have some competition in that field. But for right now, AMD's got the belt on them, and Intel's still a solid company. I say if you see this thing in the 55s, that's a clear buy for me. But I don't want to own Intel in the 60s. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't want to own it in the 60s unless they can show some good year over year growth and the guidance looks a little bit better. I mean, you just see it was a great quarter. Don't get me wrong, but I mean the stock also did run up over 6.5%. Today, and you can see why it dropped a little bit after hours. It was so hyped up to be just an absolute killer blowout. It was still a pretty big blowout, but not as big as people really wanted it to be. And I think that's why it dipped after hours, and I think that's why you saw AMD really start to climb up. I mean, this stock has been kind of trending around in a low little range for about a month now. After really having a breakout in January and then dropping all the way back in the 80s. And then, it's climbed since then from January 15th to now. It's starting to climb, starting to get back there. After hours especially, we're going to see about up another 2.5% probably. It's a solid company, and I can see this company going farther. But anyways, I do like AMD over Intel, but I wouldn't say Intel's a terrible company. I think they're still pretty solid, but I think if you have long term and you have something to look at, I'd pick AMD, but that's just me. Anyways, guys, hit the like and subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys next video. Take it easy. Bye.